Hey guys, so another video with the oscilloscope here. This here I was, so a little while ago I was at REI, and I got this little, I don't know, it's kind of crappy. But it's like an electric little, like, arc lighter thing. Really, that's kind of interesting, and I use it for like lighting candles and stuff. I took the cap off it because it wouldn't fit in stuff, so, safety third. But you probably won't be able to hear the high-pitched noise, but there's a high-pitched noise now. Turn it on. Get a little arc, if it focuses, burn stuff, lasts for a little bit, charges over micro USB, gets a bit warm if you use it for a long time, which is relevant to this, because I've been doing that the past couple days. Now, I'm probably not going to simulate this on camera because it's really finicky, but long story short, I have a loop on one of my probes here acting as an antenna. We'll focus. And I can stick this next to it, and it'll pick up the interference as an antenna from the arc. And from that, I can derive a lot about the circuit. I mean, I understand it's probably some form of, not a true ZDS, probably has some kind of switching chip on it. But what I find really interesting about it is if you look at let's see if I can make this work. There you go. Look at the, Sati, the voltage doesn't really mean anything because it's an antenna. I wasn't being constant how far away it was. But I find it really interesting here is the frequency, if it, of course, right. Oh, sorry, one really on the nose here. So I have two bars here, one from the beginning of the pulse and one from when it hits the bottom of the end of the pulse, which might not be the most accurate way to get it, but 1.43 megahertz on the initial spike upwards, which is really quite a lot. So if I had to guess, it's probably discharging a capacitor a whole ton. Actually, no, that's not right. Can't be a capacitor. That probably wouldn't work for this. There's at this frequency. I'm not 100% sure what it's doing, because you don't have the energy for a capacitor. And it's fairly low energy, all things considered. I mean, it drains its own battery fairly quickly, to be fair, but anyway, so in 0.7 of a microsecond, so we're talking like nanosecond territory? I mean, 700 nanoseconds, I believe. If my American education has not failed me. If anything, it might be slightly less if I get actually where it were to go to where it meets the other one, which is roughly 0.58 megaseconds or 580 nanoseconds at 1.72 megahertz. That is quite a lot. I find it interesting. But I also find it interesting. I mean, this resonating afterwards is not new. Like that makes sense, because there's a little bunch of harmonics and stuff that's gonna be stuck transmitting there too. Probably is capacitively coupling. The FFT, the fast Fourier transform is not at all useful for this. It's too fast. It doesn't seem to be able to pick up on it. Plus, the pulses aren't constant. So if I turn off cursors and I just shrink that down a ton, let's say 1 millisecond, hit run, and I take my probes, and I do science to them, and there you go. You can see it's not constant at all. But actually, maybe that pulse is not actually the arc. It's part of the stepping to make the simulated sine wave. Oh, I probably should zoom out. Part of the simulated sine waving. Come on. Get position right, make sure this connection is good. This cable here got kind of destroyed at some point. But so anyway, it is in frame. There you go. So let's see a little more than that. Yep. Now we can explore this in memory. This is, of course, always set to high resolution mode because that's what I prefer. Might not be the most accurate, but so the pulses I was seeing actually were part of the simulated sine wave, and you actually see this. I don't know what you would even call that. Let's try getting cursors back out again. I'm now less sure what's happening. So you have like a rising pulse up to here. Then you go down to x1. Go back all the way over here. So 205 hertz. That's, or over the course of about 5 milliseconds. But it has this weird negative part too, which I don't quite know what's going on there. Hopefully that's somewhat visible to y'all. Is that visible? Yeah, I should zoom in. COVID. Actually COVID. Anyway. It's interesting to see how the spikes here, how it's not regular. I kind of would expect it to be. At some point I'd like to do is take this thing and dip it in like a big vat of oil, and then I could maybe attach leads or something to it, or take it apart and see the transformers out of it. But it works for now, and we don't want to break it. So I'm not gonna do that for a little while. But you can see, interestingly, how it how these are all pulses, and how if you zoom in, which is what I was trying to get before, you have all these pulses within a gap between them, and that's an inductive that's an inductive discharge from ripping from, you know, the electric fields being unhappy. So you have this big positive spike and then a negative spike from the inductor trying to release its energy, and repeating that over and over again. What I was probably measuring then, what am I on? I'm on 10 microseconds per. So I was probably looking at it at more like, yeah, looking at this level. So every couple of microseconds, so what, that's 10 microseconds, let's say 1, 2, 3. So about 30 microseconds later, you have a negative dip. Then 4, 5, 6. Then 60 microseconds later, you have another spike. So if you get 60 microseconds, you would have another spike. Well, of course, I can do this the proper way. Whereas cringe people do it manually, and you know, here I am counting this like an animal. That would be 16.29 kilohertz roughly, or 61 microseconds. So that's about the frequency I hear if I were to plop it in my phone. YouTube cuts off above 15 kilohertz, so you won't be able to hear that from here. You won't be able to hear the sound, most likely. Even if your ears could pick it up. It's higher pitched than old tube TV. Those are around 15,745, I believe. Something along those lines. But so it's a very high pitched sound. The dog hears it sometimes. But yeah. Anyway. Interesting experiences with this little guy. Thanks for watching.